Hello, hello, hello. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for the Melanated Air Hour. I am one of your co-hosts, LaNée Javet. I am joined today by Keisha Ravenell at We Inspire Brand, Madam President at One Madam President with a Z, and Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks. Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up?
What's up? What's
I want
up?
to know what's up. And I don't know why I always say Teddy's tuning in from Egypt. I just want y'all to know we're international. You know what I'm saying?
International in this piece, baby.
That's what I like to tell you guys that. But this is Melanated Air. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern or 2:20, whatever.
We have things to talk about, y'all.
Yes. Yes. And today we are still talking business. We want you to know. So every time we're online, we are talking about things that are happening in the Black community or from a melanin perspective. Usually we're putting a business spin on it, right? And that's what we're doing today. Today we are talking about Cardi B and Tasha K in the YouTube world and what's happening in business via YouTube with Tasha K, who is a major YouTuber. I don't know if you guys follow her, you know who she is, but she's a major YouTuber. She has over 1 million subscribers. She's the one who broke the Derek Jackson story. So she's prominent in the vlogger world, if you will. And she was just awarded $3.8 million in a defamation lawsuit against Cardi B. Cardi B won the suit. And so today we're going to talk about what does that look like for YouTube? What does that look like for YouTubers? What does that look like for people who have businesses or, hold conversations like we do, and we're talking about individuals. What does that mean, right? So we're going to have that conversation. We have two other conversations we're going to have today. So buckle up, buckle in, stay tuned. If you are just tuning in, say hi, say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Is this your first time watching Melanated Air? Are you have you been here before? Say something to us so we know who you are and that we know that you're here. As we get into this, let's talk about it, ladies.
Yes.
Tasha K. So first of all, does anybody know who Tasha K is? Do any of you guys follow Tasha K?
Yes.
I do not. I didn't know who Tasha K was until it was brought to the group chat. I was like, oh, who's this Tasha K girl?
Tasha K, yes.
The name wasn't abreast of her, but again, that's the beauty of social media. You can have millions of followers and I still not know your name, right? So you only got to be good in your niche. As long as they love you, it don't matter who else know about you.
Right.
There you go.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
So she's on YouTube as Unwind with Tasha K. She has over 1 million subscribers. She is the lady who broke the Derek Jackson situation, and she had a lawsuit filed against Cardi B. She basically said that Cardi had contracted a sexual disease and then went online and told everybody about it. Apparently, this was after she had just had her kid and she got depressed. She wasn't able to have relations with her husband. And so she took Tasha to court. Now, here's the thing. There's a whole bunch of people who run their business off of YouTube, right? There's a lot of bloggers. There's a lot of people who cover entertainment. There's a lot of people who cover things that are happening in the world. They give their opinion. So where does opinion and fact blur so that you can be sued or a celebrity can feel like they're defamed?
The first thing I think about, and I see Liam, I see your question. Do we think Tasha will speak out about Cardi on her channel? I bet she won't. Okay, because this is a lesson to learn. But it made me think of, you know how on Facebook when people have a little video of their kid playing soccer or something, and they're playing music, and they put, this is like regular people, they put, I do not own the rights to this music. I'm like, don't nobody care about you playing E1 or somebody in the background. They are not going to sue you. But there's a level you reach where you can't say any old thing. You can't play somebody's music on your channel if you have 1 million viewers. They want their piece. And that is where Tasha made the mistake. She kind of a dog with a bone with Cardi B. And she said, nope, I'm not taking it.
Well, I personally feel like the both of them are guilty. I don't think Tasha K has any more innocence than Cardi B. I believe they were both in a very nasty verbal war. And it seems as if Tasha K, because she does have an audience, Cardi B, of course, feels like, well, somebody's listening. I feel like if Tasha K had an audience of 100 people and she was saying those things, I don't think Cardi B would care as much. But because she has a large audience and her audience is listening, and the definition of slander is a crime of making false spoken statement damaging to one's reputation. See, Cardi B has a reputation of already being a stripper. Cardi B already has a reputation through her own statement. She said she once drugged two guys and they stole and they robbed them. That is a person who has their own reputation that's not very nice. So, in my opinion, I don't believe that Cardi B felt as sad as she claimed on the stand. I don't believe that. I don't believe that she lived a lifestyle that reflect one where what Tasha K was saying that would truly be damaging to who she is or her past, because who she is now has nothing to do, well, has something to do, but she's saying that, hey, I'm not that anymore. I am now Cardi B. I am an entity and I'm a no longer, that's my time. But I will say, okay, and I'm done. What I'm just going to say is I think they both are guilty. And although Tasha K is the one who has to pay the price for what she said, because Cardi B is not just a person anymore. She is an entity.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying, and I didn't think about it this way actually, is that she already has a reputation, but basically she said, I'll tell you my reputation. You don't get to go out and tell the world what my reputation will be. And if you do, I'm gonna sue you. So I can dirty sully my name, but you cannot. Yes. So that even that's a business strategy. And I've used that before. Like when I had to tell people that I was a stripper, I was like, I want to be the person I want to be the one that tells you. I wrote my book, I put it in there. So it's already out there in the world. So that's part of doing business. Like I'm gonna be strategic in what I tell you. You will not learn who I am and what I do from somebody else.
Yeah.
It's tough for me, guys, because the thing is, Tasha K and her business, she's given the people what they want. So she knows this is going to be views. She's going to get this viewership. People are going to tune in. People want to know what's going on. That's the world that we live in now. And then as a celebrity, you do know this. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you do know that as a celebrity, people want to know what's going on, especially now in 2022. You have the Shade Room and like all of these platforms where it's like heavily focused on what's going on with celebrities. So I'm just like, but there is a line, right? So I don't know what the line is. I guess this is the line because she's obviously getting sued, but there is a line. And according to the Shade Room, or not the Shade Room, according to the Breakfast Club, she was served with the cease and desist. And then she kept going. She kept talking about Cardi. Yep. So it's just kind of like, girl, like you bought this on yourself. You should have slowed down.
And it's the lies, like unless it was true, and since Cardi B won the defamation suit, it was libel. It was not true, or she couldn't prove it was true. Therefore, I think that has to be the line from a business perspective, from a character perspective, from all of that. It's like you can't be allowed to tell lies. But then I'm gonna circle back to the constant thing we're dealing with now as business owners on social media is censorship. Like we're censored when they want you to censor. They let Black women be butt naked, shaking that WAP all over the place, but you will never see white women like that in mainstream, right? So it's very like, I choose to be upset about this and I choose not to be upset about it. They let men dog out women, say things that aren't true, call us names, infer things that aren't true, but about certain people, but then a woman who plays that same role, maybe she gets ate up in the press. So I just think it's very, if it works for the situation, it works. And for the people with the most money, Cardi B in this instance, it works. But I do think that Tasha K was wrong. She was absolutely wrong for it. She should have implied it. She didn't have to say it outright. And that was where she made her mistake.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if she had to prove that she did it. Like without me putting out all the details of the information, right? I would just say that she implied that she contracted a sexual disease. Mm-hmm. I wonder, because I didn't follow the
trial.
The trial closely. Did she have to prove that she didn't have it? Like, how, if I say that somebody has something or has contracted something and somebody told me that they had it, and that person says, no, I didn't, or no, I don't, does that person have to prove it? I wonder if
The
she
onus is on Tasha. She would have to prove that she knows it to be true.
Right.
So she would have to show the receipt. I have her test right here. I got it from a source. And if she couldn't prove it, I bet you Cardi B didn't have to say, no, I don't. You know what I mean? She'd have to say, how does she know? Well, prove it to me.
Right.
And then give up her source. And so if she was protecting her source, yeah, it gets really messy because I think this was like a year and a half ago. So how do you prove that she did or did not have it? I don't know if she did. Again, this is not for me to judge, but when we start talking about from a business perspective, there's a difference between giving your opinion and stating facts. And stating facts means you have to have a receipt. If you have a receipt, which means you have to have proof.
I have a question. So you know how like people like Wendy Williams, this has been Wendy Williams for decades. She always says allegedly, right? So did Tasha K say that? Did she say allegedly, or did she say Cardi B has this? Because like does that allegedly protect you?
She does. Yeah, no, that's good. Pamela just said, and me too. When I've listened to Tasha K, she always uses the word allegedly. Did she not use the word allegedly?
Now, we on the same page, Pamela.
Yeah, a lot of these YouTubers, there's two that I watch every now and then. It's her and Impressive. I like, if I'm going to delve into the world of celebrity or Hollywoodism and try to listen to the tea, if you will, I want background. Like I love when they do how this happened and they go to the beginning and they show you everything and you put it together. Tasha K does that and Impressive does that. And usually they will say allegedly. Normally. Because that covers you. Because I can literally say anything I want to. Allegedly. I'm not confirming or denying. This is what I heard. It's a rumor. So can you be taken to court on a rumor? If I repeat a rumor and I say allegedly, can I go to jail? Or can I be taken?
Well, I'm reading in this article on billboard.com about this case, and they also said she makes statements that Cardi B effed herself with beer bottles on something on the stage with strippers. That's one thing she said. She talks about the STD. She says she was a prostitute. These are all the things that Tasha K is saying about Cardi B. Now, sleeping with men to get the bag and sleeping with a man in exchange for money are two different things, right? So what is a prostitute exactly? Okay. They also say Tasha said she cheated on her husband and that she's done hard drugs. So something other than marijuana, I assume. So it wasn't just the sexually transmitted disease. There's more to the story, right? So she's saying things, and I think that's what, and Madam President, real quick, to her defense, this was right after she had her baby, right? So she has a lot of hormones going on, postpartum issues, maybe depression, maybe just emotional. So maybe I'm not saying she wasn't sad or not, but when you've just had a baby, your body is released and is receiving a lot of hormones. So maybe she took it a lot more seriously. And her husband was like, forget this baby, let's just sue or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to sue you like this, in addition to being a new mom. So there's always more to the story, right?
Well, I just want to say that from my understanding, stripping kind of leads to prostitution and doing drugs.
That's not true.
I want to say that it's not always that difficult to go from a lap dance of nudity to how much to hit. In some cases, that's the conversation. It's not a far-fetched thought process.
It's two different things. And it is though.
I know that the contexts I know that it's different, but the environment, it's not that different. Like, it's not like, a place where drugs aren't happening. It's not like you don't find ways to entertain people when you're dancing or whatever the case is. I'm not saying that Tasha K was doing everything right. In fact, I believe the both of them are wrong. I believe the ego got the best of both of them. All Tasha had to do was be quiet, and all Cardi B had to do is move on. Both of them this could have been squashed. It never had to get to millions, but the ego got in the way. And that's why I believe that, it's a 3 $8.8 million ego mistake. And the thing is, though, Cardi B is under the impression that she's going to get off, because what she did was, and I resonate with the little guy very often, because it's becoming a world of them versus us, and the concept of, you know, who has access. Cardi B 15 years ago, when a girl said something bad about her, she meet her ass outside and they get the rocking, right? And that's it. But now I'm a celebrity. I got all types of folks paying me money. So now guess what? I gotta fight you another way. But it's the same.
Right, hold on. So I'm gonna address Ashley Basey, because she's basically agreeing with what you're saying. It's a gateway industry, and that's not true. It's not a gateway industry. You have people that go straight to prostitution. They do not stop at stripping and collect $200. They do not pass go. So that's not true. You have, and I'm gonna blow your guys' mind, but when I was dancing, you had college girls back there. They were putting themselves through med school. They were putting themselves through law school. You don't know how all your doctors and lawyers did not get to be where they are because their mamas and daddies paid for them to get there. Some of them danced their way to get to where they are. And they were not there for that. An individual whose values are different is what can take you from stripping to prostituting. You have a lot of girls that are just there for the bag. You can't touch them. You can't talk to them. You can't take them to dinner. Give me your $5 and keep it pushing. So to say that it's a gateway industry, that's like saying that marijuana is a gateway drug, like, right?
It's not a marijuana.
I know people who've been smoking marijuana for years and have never touched nothing else. But for a different individual, it is. Exactly. But we can't just put a blanket over it and say that applies to everybody. It doesn't apply to everybody.
Okay, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. But the industry, I'm talking about P Valley, and I love P Valley, y'all. I can't wait till season 2 come out. So in P Valley, there's some that do and some that do. So that's exactly what you're saying, LaNée. But the establishments of strip clubs and everything that comes along with it carries that tone of the seediness, right? The infidelity, the prostitution, the pay for favors. So even if Cardi B was not a prostitute, right? Because what defines a prostitute? When does the money change hands? I'm just saying the industry can label you as a hoe, right? Let's just say a hoe. Is a hoe different than a prostitute? Like you be a hoe in the street, but does that mean you really take money? Or does that just mean I'm calling you a hoe because I don't like you, right?
Right.
But here's the thing: dating is prostitution, and I know people. I mean, so let me back up. I'm going to back up. Let me back up first. Have any of you guys been to a strip club?
Yes.
Okay. Have any
of you
guys been behind the scenes in the dance room?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes. Will you pay for a private room from a stripper? You dance all in a group, a private session, or no?
So you dance without your clothes on for money.
Me?
Have I?
I said, have any of you guys been a stripper?
No.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I'm just trying to get knowledge.
I did take money too, but anyway, go ahead.
Outside, having had no experience. That's why I was asking those questions. Because I know you haven't, right? As somebody who has done all of those things, I've been in that industry. I've seen that industry. I've seen girls take money and do other things. I know how that happens. I know the type of mentality. I can pick a girl. That one right there. That's the one that, like, you can see it. It's an energy. It's a person. It's somebody who's down to do anything for $1. That's a particular person that goes into this industry to make it do what it do. Everybody doesn't go into the industry to do that. You have people who are single moms who are just trying to make $1. Like, I mean, it varies. You can't put a blanketed statement over that. And unfortunately, that's what society does, because that's what we're taught to do. Black people are this kind of way. Well, you can't say that because that's not all Black people. Black businesses do this. Well, you can't say that because that's not all Black businesses. Strippers are going to become prostitutes. Well, you can't say that because not all strippers become prostitutes. Wow. Marijuana is a gateway drug. Well, you can't say that because everybody who smokes marijuana doesn't go and do coke.
I think that you are. I feel like what people sometimes like to do is, it's like when my friend says, when I says, well, Black women aren't getting married at a large rate, right? She says, that's not true. I know 12 people that are getting married. Well, guess what? You are literally removing the 1.2 million single Black women from the equation because of your personal experience. And I believe that the industry it's bigger than a personal experience. And I do believe it's from an individual standpoint, but I also believe it's the environment where ethics, it's hard to keep ethics established when you're going from one step to the next. Sometimes when you are smoking, weed and stuff, and that's cool. And then it's like, oh, well, he got the coke if you want that. It's not far-fetched because the environment is kind of set up that way. And I feel like the same thing with dancing. Even if you go to the strip club, and it may not be, I feel like, LaNée, also too, when you were dancing and what's happening now is a whole different experience. I just want to say,
how you know, Madam President? How you know?
But I like what you're saying about environment, because that leads us to our second topic, which is Meg The Stallion and her new video, Lick. It's not just the dance industry, it's the world, it's the environment. Even if you're not in the strip club, you can turn on Vivo or Vimeo or YouTube and see Meg The Stallion's new video, which is just from putting, part of my language, the P, all in your face.
All just busting it open, wide open for the world to see. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I tell you, when you guys sent this, I don't remember if it was you, LaNée, or Teddy, or who sent it. But when I saw the video, when I first started watching, I was like, oh, this video, it's just like a WAP video, right? That WAP video with Cardi B and Meg The Stallion. And then I saw the P in my face. I was like, oh, wow, okay. And my issue is that it's not about women being sexual, right? I feel like women should be able to express themselves sexually. But my issue is that our babies are seeing this, right? Our teenagers are seeing this, and they feel like, oh, this is how I should act, because they're looking up to these people as role models. So, and then I know we have the people like, oh, well, it's up to the parents to teach the child. You shouldn't leave it to Cardi B and Meg The Stallion and all these artists. But what about our babies and our teenagers that don't have parents? Like, what about them? We're leaving them out. So it's our responsibility to take care of our community, to take care of the next generation.
Yeah.
The society is saying that sex sells, so keep selling it.
White supremacy is saying Black sex sells, and we're taking it hook, line, and sinker. And I think that is the problem. It's just like, man, you don't see that in any other culture. Not on the mainstream. I'm not saying that they're not Asian porn flicks and things like that. I'm just saying on the mainstream. Mm-hmm. And it frustrates me because part of this conversation that we're having in Melanated Air is what you would do in business and what you wouldn't. And I assure y'all, whatever you think you're going to do when you start your business, you're doing something different by the time it's up and running and profitable. Like, you don't usually get to live your dream exactly the way you imagined it.
Right.
But where do you draw the line? And I did not know Meg The Stallion from a can of paint, honestly. But I assure you, I don't believe she imagined when she had the talent, when she has the talent she didn't imagine herself doing this now. She's doing it and she might be enjoying it. She's profiting from it. But did she really imagine this is the image that she's putting out there in the world? I don't know.
Yeah, but I also want to say this. Here's what I find to be interesting. If you go through a lot of today's new music videos, the constant push on over sexualizing Black women, not to mention putting Black women on other Black women in a very sexual manner, seems to be deranged. It's like constant. And mind you, you're talking to this is coming from a woman who dates women. I'm almost like, what is happening here? Because these are women who have boyfriends. These are women who are straight. Why are they dancing and striding with other women, and that's not even their objective. That's not even their interest. You have to be strong enough in your persona and identity and say, "Where my man at?" If you are a straight woman, what are you doing? But they dance with each other and whopping with each other, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It's pushing that agenda.
Yeah, and that's it.
It's what Keisha said. She said she started watching the video and she thought it was just like WAP. And she said it so I thought it was just like WAP.
As if that was okay, right?
Exactly. As if that was okay. Oh, it's just like WAP. The business is desensitizing us. The business is showing people, Black people specifically, that you can let yourself go. You don't have to have any values. You don't have to have any morals. You can just do whatever you want to do any kind of way because you're going to get that paper. You're going to get that bag. You're going to get some money. So don't worry about it. And that shouldn't be how we operate. That shouldn't be how we do business. More importantly, that shouldn't be the type of business that we support.
Yeah, it's like a competition. It's like a competition, like you said, the desensitization. Like, okay, who's gonna be the nastiest in 2022? Like, who's gonna be the freakiest? Like, yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe what I'm watching. And I feel like from generation to generation, it gets worse and worse.
And you know what they do? Imagine how many little white boys' bodies from being murdered by the police have been laid out in the street, and the press is all over it, and we get to see it news cycle after news cycle after news cycle, covered with a blanket, whatever, and violence and murder, whether it's by cop, by person. We see that. So in the Black community, especially, we're just so numb to it. And just like Keisha said, I'm not picking on you, Keisha, but you say I thought it was just like WAP. Because we're so we're over it now. We were like on WAP, but now we're like, okay, it's been several months. We're over it. And then this other thing, and it shocks us again. And if you keep getting shocked, eventually it don't hurt no more. Eventually you're like, well, whatever. And that's where we're going. So the powers that be that are running this show and paying the bills to put this entertainment out in the street, it's for a reason. And if you don't realize that you are part of the agenda as the receiver paying your attention or the person doing it, that is the mistake. That is where we have to say hell to the no and stop that right now. We have to stop right now, stop accepting it, stop perpetrating it, and don't allow people in our community to help further that.
Absolutely. Dang, I had a comment I was about to make, but Jimmy, you took me away with your comment. You literally made me forget what I was about to say. I'm gonna read it. Jimmy says, I think the fact is Black women are just more attractive than white. I would even say that than any other race. You guys have a gift and a curse. It's just sad that people exploit it. Come on now, Jimmy. And that's exactly what it is. Thank you so much. In case somebody else wants to say thank you. Okay. And that's what it is. Business. It's business, right? They call it entertainment business because it is business. And we as a people, as a community, have to recognize that there is an agenda behind that business. It's to damage Black love. It's to, I think it was Ashley who says, put images in front of impressionable young minds. It's Kevin Samuels having conversations with Black women about don't go on a date after 5 o'clock unless you plan on having sex. Like who, where, why, when was that rule written and we didn't know? Why is everything us as Black people, as Black women, super sexualized? Like, why is that? Like, I've been going on dates after 5 o'clock all my life and I decide and choose if I'm going to have sex or not. But that's my business. Yeah. I don't think that we should be looking to the entertainment industry or YouTubers to tell us when, where, why, and how to sexually move in our life.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah. Can we consume? Is it possible to consume for fun? Or is the consumption of the thing, the entertainment, the food, the drink, the alcohol, the drugs, always going to have an effect on our mental or our physical selves? And I think that's a rhetorical question because you can't just consume for fun. And that's why they say when you're in a certain place, if you're feeling depressed, unhappy, negative energy, whatever, they say delete all the negative things off your social media feeds. Right? Not following those people that are bringing those emotions. And that's what we have to do. We have to just disconnect from that. And that's why I'm glad I didn't know who Tasha K was. And although I do know who Kevin Samuels is, it's not because I watch him. It's because I've tuned in as for Melanated Air to say, okay, what are we talking about? Who is this person? What does he talk about? But I'm not consuming his information because I don't want it to seep in to me and become a part of me. And Madam President, she said it perfectly, about how you can't support things like that because it's against everything that you believe in. Period. Right. Even if they have good points, it's against what I believe in. So it doesn't even matter.
You have to guard your eyes, your ears, your spirit. You have to, because these people will make you go crazy. I don't care for Kevin Samuels. I feel like the way he talks to Black women is BS. I feel like there are some points that he makes to Black women. I was like, oh yeah, I agree with that. But for the majority of the time, I do not agree with him. I think the comment that he made about going on dates after 5 p.m. is BS. It's like, who the hell are you to tell any woman, what she should do with her body after a certain time, and that a man has access to a woman's body after a certain time. So it's just like, you have to guard your eyes, your ears. You have to, because I know that there was a point in time where, even though I didn't like Kevin Samuels, it was just like, what this Negro got to say now? Like, let me hear. And then he was saying things like, oh, after 30, like, you could forget about it. Like, you probably ain't getting married. Your chances are going down. And then that seeps into my mind. Even though I don't like this guy, I don't agree with this guy. It's just like, oh, snap. Like, is that
true?
Right?
Maybe.
Right, exactly. Like, maybe I'm
he know because he got a wife, right?
Wrong.
Wrong. I said, he know because he got a wife, right? And I said, no, wrong, right? So
exactly.
But what do we do for business? What do we do? What would you do for money? Like, this is it. He blew up and he's giving the people what they want. And we want BS, man. Like, the things that please us are BS. And you got good business owners out here trying to spread knowledge, give information. I saw this one guy, he's talking about investment advice, and he was giving, gems, stock market investing, gems. He never got the viewership. So he rented a Lamborghini or some very expensive car. He did the same video, one of his exact same videos, in front of the Lamborghini, standing in front of it, leaning on it. And it had like 100 times the amount of views. And he was so frustrated with that because he said the exact same thing he's always been saying, only he had an expensive car in the background.
Yeah.
So we have to watch where we're paying our attention. And if you think it's free, you are the product. So wherever we're selling ourselves, we got to pay attention to that and determine what that's going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a part of business. Everybody has a quote unquote market. And once you figure out what your market is, you keep hitting it, you keep touching it, you keep selling to it. And Kevin has identified his market. It's unfortunate that it is pandering to Black men and Black women. That's sad because he has such a huge platform. He could literally use his platform to uplift and to help Black men and Black women in their relationships. But he doesn't, right? He oftentimes, because I don't watch him, so sometimes people are like, how can you talk about a man that you don't watch? I've seen more than enough sound clips. And I will say this, when I was at this shop getting my hair done, there was a gentleman there who loves Kevin Samuels, and he was like, you are part of the problem. You need to go listen to him. So I said, cool. Never one to be like, you know what? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me give the brother a chance. Like, I can't be out here hating on somebody and I haven't even listened to their content. Let me go give the brother a chance. So I sat through 2 or 3 of his segments and I was like, hell no. My peace of mind, my self-respect, my morals, and my integrity will not let me listen to this man degrade other Black women and talk to them like this. And so I do operate from, I got to at least try it. Like, I don't ever want to diss another brother or somebody else's business. So I did listen to it, and it's not for me. But this is the thing about business, because we always like to tie, things back to businesses. There is an audience for everybody.
Yep.
There is a market for everybody. He has over 1 million subscribers. And I think Faye was one who told me this. He has over 1 million subscribers on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Each one. Usually a business owner, entrepreneur has that kind of success on one, and that's the one that they keep hitting. but he has that in all of them. So he's doing something right. It's just wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And especially when you have people like Venus Williams, who's I think 41 and still a virgin because she's saving herself for marriage. I'm listening to this book by Yvonne Orji, who plays Molly on Insecure. She's a virgin. She's waiting until marriage. You actually have women out here that are trying to protect their virtue and value themselves highly, as he calls them, high value men. You have a lot of high value women out here who are carrying themselves in a place, in a space of high value, and you are hyping these grown ass men that don't got nothing going on for them to believe that they are God's gift to women, and they can talk to them and treat them any kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cool.
Yeah. And going back to Venus and Yvonne, right? Being
Yes.
virgins. I remember there was this caller, and like you said, LaNée, I've watched clips of him. And there was this clip where this woman said that she wanted to be celibate now. Like she wanted to save herself for marriage, even though she had children. And he was just like, for what? You know, and she's just like, well, are you saying that I should just go out there and have sex? And he's just like, well, you damn right you should. And I'm just like, why are you telling this woman who has decided to save herself for marriage for whatever reason that, yeah, you should just go out there and have sex with guys because you already have a child? That's basically what he said. You already have a child. You was already doing it. So you might as well continue to do it. And I'm just like, this is so toxic to our community. Like what?
But aren't we toxic for listening to it? Aren't we toxic for him having 1 million subscribers on all these platforms? And I assure you, people that are Twitter people aren't really Facebook people. And people who are YouTube people aren't Twitter people. So these are 1 million separate different peoples across his platform. And we're just like, you know, consuming it. I don't know if it's a train wreck kind of thing or a car wreck. You just can't stop looking at it or what. But
it's a guilty pleasure. You know how they say guilty pleasure?
That's but again, it's seeping in.
And it goes back to marketing and branding. It goes back to marketing and branding. Like what Wallace Owen says. Has any person on the panel seen any of the people who thank Kevin for helping them find marriage, men or women? It goes back to branding and marketing. He has an audience of people who value what he says and believes it. And apparently, according to Wallace, they thank him for helping them find marriage. So there's a market out there. There are people out there that value what he says and believes what he says, utilizes it, puts it to use. Now, I am a big person who believes that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. And I say that because, and I'm gonna say this name online. I'm not gonna say the names online, but there are a couple of people that I follow who I completely disagree with their messaging, but I understand what they're talking about, right? I have somebody, and I don't want to say their name because they're super controversial, who's a cool friend of mine. And we get in conversations all the time. We're arguing. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Like, I can't even believe you fixed your mouth to say that. But when they talk about their thing in their lane, I'd be like, that's right. That's that shit. You talking that talk. So you can listen to somebody and there's points and things that come out of their mouth that you are right on with. Like, yeah, I get that. I rocks with that. And then they can say something else in the very next breath of the very next video and be like, that's crazy. Yeah. Now, so for that, I do think that Kevin Samuels probably operates like that, right? Because I have heard particular conversations where I'm like, okay, that's not bad. Okay, he was right for saying that, right? Yeah. But it's 8 out of 10 I disagree with. It's like 1 or 2 where I'm like, okay, he was cool. So 80% of the time we don't agree with each other. That tells me that I'm not his target market. That tells me that I'm not his audience. And that's okay because there's somebody else that is. I'm toxic, but somebody else is like, that's right on. Like, that's what it is. And that's what business is all about. That's why there can be multiple different coffee companies. That's why there can be multiple different hamburger stands. That's why there can be multiple different doctors, because you go to who relates to you, who talks the best to you, who you align with. That's what business is all about. That's why you have raggedy businesses, good business, bad businesses that charge $5,000, businesses that charge $5, because there's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, there goes a good one. Here we go. I knew somebody was going to ask this question. I was waiting for it.
Always.
Are y'all even there
alone for this question? If we had $1 this year alone for this question,
I know, right?
I want somebody to give us $1 every time we're asked this question. Are y'all even married?
Opinionated. I'm married. I've been married for 14 years, I think. 14 years. So does that make it better?
Right. Does it matter? I am not married. I'll be married soon though.
Yes,
I'm getting married. Baby.
I am not married. That's it. I'm not married. There's reasons why, but they don't have anything to do with the conversation that we're having. But no, I'm not married. What's your follow-up question? What you gonna ask?
Why does it matter? I would like to know that.
Yes, all things blue say you don't have to be married to see things clear about marriage and relationships. Now, I agree with you, and I will say this, and I've said this before. I do not give married friends advice. As a single person, I talk to my single homegirls all the time. I am the voice in the calm. I help my girlfriends. I will push them in certain areas and directions with regards to dating. But when my married girlfriends come and talk to me about their married situations, I'd be like, hold on, sis, I'm not married. Like, don't talk to me about your marriage. I'm not married. So I do not assist or add value to or give marriage advice or any advice for that matter on something that I have not experienced, which is again why I went and watched the Kevin Samuels videos, because I felt like, how am I out here talking about this man and I've never even actually watched his videos? Like I at least have to go and get the experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Kevin Samuels was a woman with that same theory, he would have 5 followers.
Yeah.
People are very, I feel like they're dismissive to men in their behavior. It's coming from a man. It's that same concept when your mama say, oh, when your father gets home, it's happening. You know, it's this constant reiteration that because it comes from a man or it's coming from a man, it holds validity. Well, in fact, I would like my children to be well behaved, even with their mother, not just their father. Like, don't be giving me hell, and then when your daddy comes through the house, you go straighten up. That is not okay.
I will say, Madam President, sometimes I gotta cut them kids off and be like, "Do you want me to go get daddy?" Because they be okay. Like, I'm loving, I'm sweet, I'm always giving hugs. I'm like, I'm sorry you're upset, you know. But I'm like, I'm jumping to get daddy.
I feel like people are I think they are, respectful to Kevin Samuels' theory or his approach. Now, here's what I will say. Kevin Samuels sometimes will kind of get women out of their fairy tale make-believe mindset. Because I've seen and heard some things where I was like, is she serious? You know? And he would just literally have to say, you being, whatever. It's kind of like women can have this over romanticized thought process about relationships. And sometimes I do believe he will, even if I don't agree with any of his delivery or majority of his messages, he will say, well, if you want a man for this purpose, then you have to be the woman that does X, Y, and Z. And so it's like, oh, okay, he's adding that perspective. But it's also men too. Men, I've seen men say, well, guess what? I want a woman who only wears her natural hair. I hate weave, right? And then they ask the man, tell me this. What celebrity woman has your favorite hairstyle? And they were like, ooh, Beyonce. As long as 2020's pandemic, okay? But then, you go over there and be like, yeah, I don't like women who wear weave. But yeah, when I see Beyonce, it's like everybody's irrational and insane. Let's get healed and whole.
And that's why I said you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because 20% of the time he do, and not just 20% of the time he do, a lot of it you hit on. I don't like his delivery. It's not even what he's saying, because sometimes he do be saying the right stuff. It's just
Right.
his delivery is so degrading. Like, why can't you say that with more compassion? I'm
Mhm.
not mad at what you're saying, but be more compassionate with what you're saying. Opinionated reality said, there's a lot of women who do what Kevin Samuel does and have tons of followers. You are absolutely correct. This is not a Kevin Samuels conversation or even a hating on Kevin Samuels conversation. The conversation is, what would you do for money? Like, how are you running your business? Are you degrading men? Are you degrading women? Are you helping the community? Are you shaking that ass to get paid and putting that in front of our young girls who are impressionable? Are you talking trash on people and getting sued? So we've talked about Tasha K and Cardi B with the defamation suit. We've talked about Megan The Stallion's new video and what that looks like for our young girls and grown women who are trying to be out here and compete and date. Is that how you have to be and act in order to be in the world? And then as a musician, this is your art. Are you okay with putting yourself out there like that? We've talked about, and now we're talking about Kevin Samuels and how, you know, his business of communication and what that looks like and what does that mean. So that is the conversation.
Yeah. You know, a few weeks ago, we did an episode about, I don't remember the title, but it was about your job, like sucking the life out of you, you know, doing something you hate, how it's not worth it. And I have to wonder how many people in celebrity are living what they thought was a dream, but it's a nightmare, right? And as people, as regular people, not the entertainers, when do you take a step back from what the road you're going down and say, nope, I'm going to veer off and do something different? Because again, as Keisha said perfectly, it's all about taking care of ourselves and our own well-being. And if it's bringing you joy, and I will go back. I would love to have a conversation with Meg The Stallion and say, are you joyful right now? Are you happy? When she got shot in the feet, I remember she was not happy. And I don't think, I don't know if her entertainment life and dealing with this dude that shot her had anything to do with each other directly, but she was very unhappy. And it's like, where do you want to be in life? How do you want to let trolls affect you? People in comments saying negative things about you, and you have to deal with that every day. Or having to talk to women funky, even though that's not how your mama talked to you, but you're doing it because you're doing it for money and you're popular. Right. So where do you draw the line? Where do you say that's enough? I'm not doing that anymore. Is there a dollar value once I make $1 million, 2 million, 5 million? You know, where does it end?
No,
they always pay out 3.8 million.
Right.
That get yourself in order and say, damn, I went too far.
And I feel like they're always going to be chasing it. So even when it's like, oh, when I make $1 million, that's it. You hit that $1 million, your next goal is 5 million. So you're like, I need to make that 5 million and then I'm going to stop. It's like a drug.
It is. And I just want to say that it's not enough for anybody. And I want to say something else too about this Megan The Stallion and this theory of this, like, what happened is Black women being objectified is so dangerous. It's because Black women are constantly identified as a thing. And we have been trying to, I'm a human being, I'm a person, right? So when they continue to kind of like dress you up and keep you nude and don't allow you to express yourself and reward you for being intelligent and rewarded you for the things that brings value to an entire ecosystem, right? So now you working on their behalf, right? When you nude and you selling music, you working for them. Yeah. So then you don't ever get a chance to work for your people. These women they supposed to be basically fighting in the construct of like, okay, here's me. I believe in X, Y, and Z, but I'm just gonna come out here and be naked all the time and talk about nothing of importance. But what happened is they treat us in the real world like a thing, right? Because it's like you're either romanticized or you're either entertaining them or you're either making them laugh. No, I'm here to get my money. I'm about reparations and education and all that other stuff. But when you're talking like that, ain't nobody listening to you. Ain't nobody giving you millions and ain't nobody giving you no roses. But when you sit up here, got your titties sitting high and you showing all your stuff, it's like, oh, okay, look at you winning. How is that winning? You talking about being productive and this for Black women. Meanwhile, Sandra Bland was treated like a thing. Breonna Taylor was treated like a thing. This is the constant, basically us being treated like a thing and not a human being. So they have to tell them, nah, I'm putting my clothes on today, goddammit. Leave me alone. I'm going out with my clothes on. And when I release a statement, I have something of substance to say because Black women need it. All these women, I ain't heard them. They are making the killing of Black empowerment. They got the fist up. They wearing all black. But then I ain't heard nobody make no statement against no white supremacy, the police brutality. I ain't heard nobody make no statement about all those things that's going to make them endorsements say, nah, we're going to reconsider.
The bag.
None of that gets attention. If you think about the entertainment industry, specifically around music, and you think about the music that we grew up listening to and the artists that we grew up listening to, they didn't and don't make the type of money that these artists make today. Granted, social media wasn't here then. I'm not going to pretend like social media doesn't have anything to do with it. Absolutely, social media has something to do with it. But so does imagery. So does representation. So does branding, right? So all of that still plays a part. Could you imagine if India Arie, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Mary, Queen Latifah, the people that we grew up with were prominent today, what social media would look like, what the industry would sound like if that was the music of today. But they hush that empowerment music, that love music, that R&B. When's the last time you heard an R&B song on the radio?
Right.
Not current
R&B person out right now.
Not like we heard it.
Not like we heard it.
It doesn't exist like it. We had it back in the day.
Right. And I want to say, like, for my generation, because y'all know I'm a millennial, so we were, I feel like, going into that sexualized, time period, but we still had balance. So I knew TLC, I knew SWV, like, some people were saying, even Destiny's Child, like, was like teetering, and we had Ashanti, right? But then we also had Lil' Kim. So it's like we had that balance where it's just like, oh, we have this and we have that. Now it's just everybody busting it over, y'all. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's how the kids think that they're supposed to get on. Now they think it's all about being an influencer. I gotta figure out how I can get on the gram. I gotta do this. I gotta pose with my money. Can I stand in front of your car? Can you stand in front of my car?
Or going broke. They get their little paycheck and they spend all of their money on these bags and these shoes because they feel like it's going to get them likes and it's going to make them popular. And nobody is teaching them about, not nobody, because we are, right? But
I'm about to say
about Black wealth and legacy.
Yeah. And can I say this? Because Keisha made a good point about the youth. I went to a school and basically the teacher was explaining to me how majority of the students, this was school in the inner city of Chicago, majority of the students, they were all Black. They could not read at grade level. They were like, when I tell you the school to prison pipeline, what people don't understand is how your level of intelligence, comprehension, your emotional intelligence has a direct effect on your choices and your decisions and what you do. So if you got little girls and little boys are not exercising their ability to read and write, then they're going to be doing dumb stuff often. Kodak Black, a rapper who just kind of like be crazy and talking about Molly and popping pills and getting millions of dollars. But the problem is the fact that he has an audience. Like, you're kidding me, right? The fact that you got millions of people who can resonate with you, knowing that you're illiterate, knowing that you don't have, any intellectual ability, that's problematic. Yeah. Then I also want to say, Keisha, too, so it all is a direct effect. But what the situation with Regina King, if any children are watching, there isn't an Oscar, there isn't a house, there isn't a bank account that can lift you up if you don't have a sense of awareness and a sense of contentment. There needs to be an okay in all of us on all things. You get what I'm saying? Like the desirous attitude of I want the bigger house and I want the car. This woman, I think about Regina King as a person who I respect dearly in the entertainment industry. Do you know how painful it is to basically to achieve the world and lose a child?
Mm.
How can this is why I'm glad that we got to this place, because this is what's happening right here today. We are achieving every single thing and losing humanity. Humanity is constantly slipping out of our hands. People's lives are constantly just, I'm headed to the nearest bridge 24/7. Meanwhile, I've gotten every accolade that came my way. The woman can have a house all over the world, can drive any car. People right now will meet her at the airport and drop to her knees. And you mean to tell me I got to lose my son? He felt inadequate in this world? What's happening to this world? I'm off my box, but I really feel like it is a personal responsibility for us to maintain humanity. We have to let Gucci and Prada and everybody know I'm okay without this. And we got to stop putting
it starts with the adults, but it also it's teaching your kids. Because for us, I'm not going to say it's over for us, because that's not what I mean. It's not over for us. But our generation is elevating. It's this next generation that's coming up behind us. But we are the leader of that generation as parents. So we have to teach our children so that they will teach their children. But if we're running around here with the Fendi bag and the Gucci bag and the also competing with our child, then we're setting a bad precedent. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those brands or things if you want to get them, if you can afford them. And take care of your children and fund your business and make sure your retirement is taken care of and make sure your kids' college fund is funded. You know what I'm saying? If you can do all those things and get the bag, by all means do them. But don't get the bag and not be able to take care of those other things.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So, first of all, thank you for tuning in to the Melanated Air Hour. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 p.m. for 1 hour. We just fill your airways with melanin talk. Usually it's about something that's happening in mainstream, and we do it from a business perspective. And we do it every week, two times a week, Thursdays. You can catch us live on Melanated Air or whatever platform you are tuning in right now. You can go and follow us individually. You can catch me at I am LaNée Javet. You can follow Keisha Ravenell at We Inspire Brand. You can find Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks, and the one and only Madam President at one Madam President with a Z. We're going to go back around the room and do our final thoughts before we get out of here for the day. Our conversation today is, what would you do or not do for money? We looked at the Tasha K. Cardi B situation, where Tasha K. was just sued by Cardi B, who was awarded $3.8 million in her defamation lawsuit. What does that mean for YouTubers? What does that mean for people who vlog or talk entertainment talk or gossip? We looked at Meg The Stallion and what she's doing in the industry for her career and if she's happy. We looked at Kevin Samuels and his conversation with women, and or specifically his conversation about not dating after 5 o'clock unless you plan on putting out. And we just talked, we looked at Venus Williams and being a virgin. Is it okay to be a virgin over 40? Like, it was a full conversation today. We hit it all. And we talked about business. Are these things good for business? How does that affect business? And so if you enjoyed our conversation, please make sure you go and like us and follow us on Melanated Air. Go like us and follow us on our individual platforms. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll go around the room. Keisha, what are your final thoughts for today?
So I just want to say it's important for us to come together. It takes a village. It's important for us to raise our Black babies well. And I think that's where we're missing the mark. We have this individualistic mentality where it's about me getting the bag. And I'm not saying us, But overall, the Black community is like, oh, I got to get my bag. I got to get my bag. But if we come together and we say it's about us getting the bag, it's about us building our community, then I think that we can get on one accord and we can go somewhere. Now, that's where we miss the mark, because we have other communities that are doing that, right? We have other communities that are on the same page and that do want the same thing, and they have their agenda. We need to get on the same page and stop selling our souls on these social media platforms and have our own agenda.
Absolutely.
Teddy, go ahead.
I'd like to end by answering the question, what would I do for money? What I do for money is the things that are in line with my goals, my integrity, and my character. And I think that's the barometer I always use when it's like, well, can I do it? When you get offered money, when you get offered opportunity, is it something I can live with, my family can live with, and is it going to grow me? Is it something I won't look back on and regret or embarrassment? And can I overcome it? So when we're growing in life and we're excelling and we're reaching heights we never thought we could reach, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it to you and your mental and physical and emotional health? Is it worth it to your family? Is it worth it to your character? Can you still maintain integrity? And are you reaching your goals? Have you even set goals? And if you can do all those things, then I say move forward in action. But if not, I would say reevaluate it and see how you can improve or get the bag some other type of way.
Okay. And President?
Well, I just want to say peace and love, and see y'all on Thursday. One Madam President with a Z.
That's it?
That, like, I saw the 1 hour mark, and I was like, well, I want to go into the full film.
Okay. Well, I'm going to just end with, if we sat down and really opened our eyes, like just really sat down and opened our eyes. And I forget, one of you guys said it earlier. I forget who it was. And I'm not saying that we should judge ourselves based on other races. That's not what I'm saying. But if we really just sat down and looked at other races and how they conduct themselves in the world, how they show up for relationships, the television shows that they get, the conversations that they have, the music videos that they put out, the radio shows that play music. We are the only race, the only community that is consistently denigrated or denigrated. Yeah, that's
degrading, denigrating.
It doesn't sound right. That's degraded in every aspect. Our music is degrading. Our television shows are degrading. Our radio stations, our YouTube, like where do we go for good conversation? Where do we go to be uplifted? What TV show can we turn on and see ourselves represented in a positive light? Like, where is today's different world? Right? I know that All Americans coming out with the HBCU, and I cannot wait to watch it.
And
but
Grownish is good too.
Grownish just did their last episode, so they're going off. And Grownish. No, I love Grownish. I do love Grownish. But I mean, if we just really just sit down and look at what's happening in the world and how the world is moving, and it's as if they have Black people put in this corner with a TV on and like just watch this boob cube while the rest of the world and society moves on in technology, in career development, in life, in relationship. We're going to do this, but y'all just stay right here and look at this. Meg The Stallion, Kevin Samuels, ha 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 ha. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it seems like. But if we ever were to be like, okay, let me take these glasses off for a second. Let me unplug. Let me stop watching this. Let me stop listening to this. And let me feed myself something different. We would move forward. But not just one person. Not just two. Not just you on this broadcast, because we're not enough. And that, I believe, is the problem that we have in our community. It's the 80-20 rule. There's 20% of us that get it, but the masses are like, I'm cool, I'm good, I'm fine, I got to where I need to be, my bills is paid, I'm moving and grooving, I'm good. And we forget community. But if we ever really grasp the concept of community, which says, I need you and I need you. And we both, all of us, need to move forward together because that's how we're stronger together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Together. So, with that being said, Kiana says, "How can I become a panelist?" Kiana, what you want to talk about, girl? What you want to talk about? How can I become a panelist? Ben, I'm trying to, Ben Black. Thank you, ladies, for your love to uplift our people. I would love to talk about how all our Black women are turning gay. Oh, Lord, okay. I mean, we can have the conversation. We don't shy away from conversations. We like to talk about business conversations, but, we can figure out how to talk about that from a business perspective. Let's see. 20% are here.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
All right. I think we'll stop there. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Melanated Air. We love you. We appreciate you. As always, continue to be blessed, stay Black, and be one.
Be one, baby.